Let's talk about the secret link between literal thinking and broken emotional safety agreements. In a neurodiverse relationship, some of the most painful conflicts begin with something incredibly small. A phrase, a figure of speech, a statement made during an emotional conversation where one partner hears an expression of feeling while the other hears a precise statement of fact. And suddenly, the agreement isn't really about what was said anymore. It's about trust. Imagine a neurotypical partner saying, "Well, you never listen to me." Now, they may not literally mean never. What they're trying to communicate is something closer to, "I'm hurting right now. I don't feel heard. I need reassurance that what matters to me also matters to you." But the ASD partner who processes language more literally may hear something very different. "Never? That's not true. I listened to you yesterday. I listened to you this morning. You're accusing me of something I didn't do." So the response comes quickly. "That's ridiculous. Of course I listened to you." Now watch what happens. The neurotypical partner was asking for emotional connection, but receives a factual correction. The autistic partner believes they're defending reality, but their NT experiences that defense as emotional dismissal. And within seconds, both people feel betrayed. This is one of the hidden ways literal thinking can collide with what I call emotional safety agreements. Every close relationship develops invisible agreements. We don't sit down and formally negotiate them, but they're there. Agreements like, "When I'm hurting, you'll try to understand me. When you say something important, I'll take you seriously. Your words mean something. My feelings matter. We won't deliberately mislead each other. You should have the same level of intuition that I have." Now, these agreements create predictability, and that's good, because predictability helps the nervous system feel safe. But neurodiverse couples can accidentally violate these agreements without either partner intending to or even knowing that they did it. Suppose the neurotypical partner says, "Well, I just can't do this marriage anymore." To that person, it means, "I'm overwhelmed, something needs to change." But a literal processor hears, "This relationship is ending." Their nervous system responds to the literal meaning of the sentence. So now, fear rises, defensiveness appears, they withdraw, they become angry, they may immediately begin arguing about whether the statement is fair. Meanwhile, the neurotypical partner thinks, "Why aren't you responding to how much pain I'm in?" Two nervous systems are now responding to two completely different conversations. This is where we need a powerful reframe. Sometimes what looks like betrayal is actually a translation error. Now, that doesn't mean the hurt isn't real. It doesn't mean broken promises should simply be excused. And it certainly doesn't mean autism makes someone incapable of accountability. But it does mean this. Before assigning motives, we need to understand the processing mechanics underneath the interaction. Literal thinking often prioritizes the explicit meaning of words. Emotional communication frequently depends on implied meaning. That is a dangerous mismatch when nobody realizes it's happening. Think about the phrase, "I need you to be there for me." The neurotypical partner means, "I need some emotional presence." The ASD partner thinks, "Well, I'm sitting right here." She's technically accurate, emotionally disastrous. Or imagine someone saying, "Well, you promised we'd spend more time together." And then the ASD partner thinks, "No, I promised we would have dinner together Friday night." Now, the NT spouse experiences a broken relationship promise, while the ASD spouse genuinely believes they kept the agreement exactly as stated. Now, neither experience should automatically cancel the other. Instead, the couple needs to identify the missing translation. A useful question would be, what did those words mean to you? Not, how could you possibly think that? Or, "You're twisting my words." Or, "You're too sensitive." Ask what the words meant inside the other person's nervous system, because that's where emotional safety lives. Consider a couple, I'm going to just call them Daniel and Morgan. Morgan tells Daniel, "I need you to check in with me more when I'm having a bad day." Daniel agrees. A week later, Morgan has an awful day at work, and Daniel sends a text at lunch. "How's your day?" Morgan replies, "Terrible." Daniel responds, "Sorry to hear that." And that's it. That evening, Morgan is furious. "You said you'd check in with me." Daniel is completely confused. "Well, I did." And technically, Daniel is correct. But emotionally, Morgan is also correct. Morgan understood check in with me to mean stay emotionally engaged, ask follow-up questions, show me that you're thinking about me. But Daniel understood it as contact me and ask how I'm doing. Same agreement, two translations. And once we recognize that, the conversation can change from "you broke your promise" to we defined the promise differently, didn't we? That's a radically different conversation. Now we're not prosecuting someone's character, we're improving the translation system. This is why neurodiverse couples often benefit from making emotional agreements unusually concrete. CONCRETE, concrete. Instead of saying, well, I need you to be more supportive. Try describing what support looks like. Okay, well, when I tell you I've had a terrible day, please ask me 1 or 2 questions about what happened before offering any solutions. Instead of, I need you to spend more time with me, clarify what that means. Okay, I'd like us to have 2 evenings each week where we spend at least 30 minutes together without phones or television. Now, I understand specificity isn't romantic, but for most neurodiverse couples, specificity is emotional accessibility. And there's another side to this. The neurotypical partner can learn to recognize when emotional language is being used as shorthand. If you say, you never care about how I feel, consider translating the emotion underneath it. For example, I know that's not literally true. What I'm trying to say is that right now I'm feeling alone. That tiny clarification can prevent an entire argument. And the autistic partner can practice listening for the emotional message underneath imperfect language. When your NT spouse says, well, you never listen, instead of immediately correcting that, you can say, are you saying you don't feel heard right now? That's translation, folks. And translation creates connection. Now, the goal isn't to make an autistic partner communicate like a neurotypical person, or to make the neurotypical partner stop using emotional language. The goal is to create a shared language where both nervous systems know what the agreement actually means. Because emotional safety isn't created by perfect communication. It's created when 2 people repeatedly discover that when misunderstanding happens, we'll try to find each other again. And that's the most important emotional safety agreement of all. So before deciding, well, you don't care, ask whether the message was translated correctly. Before deciding, well, you're irrational, ask what emotional meaning might be hidden underneath the words. The relationship isn't suffering from a lack of love. Sometimes 2 people are simply speaking different neurological dialects, and neither one was ever given the dictionary. And once you start building that dictionary together, guess what happens? What once looked like betrayal can now become clarification. What once triggered defensiveness can now become curiosity. And what once made the relationship feel neurologically unsafe can slowly become one of the places where both partners finally feel understood. Please like, subscribe. See you again tomorrow.
I feel so invisible. It's like you don't even see me.
Oh, honey, that's ridiculous. I'm looking right at you now.
Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk.